My name is Alan Friedman. I'm a global offering manager in IBM's Industry Solutions. I'm an IBMer, and I am really excited to be here today with you all. I'm actually standing in for a gentleman whose name you would have seen in the agenda, named Vova Soroka, who leads a group within Israel called the Global Technology Unit that I'm going to tell you a little bit about because I think it can be of value to you. If you're familiar with it, hopefully some of you have actually taken advantage of it in Israel, and those of you who are not familiar, I've met a few people who hadn't heard of it. It's a resource that hopefully you can take advantage of in trying to work with IBM. IBM 2 years ago celebrated its 100th anniversary, and at the same time we celebrated 60 years in Israel. So we're now up to, I think, 62 years in Israel. A very early investor and believer in what's possible in Israel, and we've participated in the activity that this conference is all about. What we're going to do here today is talk to you a little bit about what do we mean when we say Smarter Planet. It's more than just a marketing campaign and buzzword for us. It's definitely a marketing campaign. You'll see it in a lot of what we do. But for every IBMer, it's very meaningful to us. Part of our agenda, as Ginny Rometty, our CEO, reminds us very often, is to become essential to our customers. It's not just about driving the results. We believe that if we can bring real value to the ecosystem that works with us, our clients and the world that they live in, that they will favor us with their business. So a Smarter Planet is all about all these gadgets. I think there was a gentleman, he's taking a picture of me right now with that camera, who had about 12 gadgets on him, right? But we're all kind of instrumented, right? We're all walking around and frankly, everything on the planet can be instrumented, right? And then what do we do with all that data that's coming at us? So that's really what a Smarter Planet is all about. It's applying analytics and smarts to this massive data that's out there. And we'll get into that with some examples. We brought some of our partners with us to give you an idea of the kinds of companies we look for and work with to bring solutions to our customers. So just a little bit about how you might want to work with us. There is a program. You think IBM, we are a large company. We have a lot of relationships with some of the larger Israeli companies too. But we have programs that are very relevant from the smallest startup to as you plan your growth. And it's called the Global Entrepreneurship Program. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it here, but I wanted to make you aware that it exists. In fact, in the movie that was shown last night, there was, towards the end of the video, a smart camp, which is part of the Global Entrepreneurship Program that you can take advantage of, where companies that were featured there came into IBM and had people like Yossi and his peer group actually work with them to review their business cases and help them mature. And that's something that we do in Israel and I'm pretty proud of. So, why do we need partners? Why would you want to partner with IBM? What's the joint interest? In a nutshell, we definitely know we can't do it all. We do a lot of things. We depend heavily on partners to come in and work with us. And so we're interested in seeing what's going on in the landscape in Israel and taking advantage of it to bring solutions to our customers.
Wonderful conference.
Why might you want to partner with IBM? Again, I'll let you read it, but in a nutshell, it's because hopefully we can help you take your capabilities to a higher scale and reach more customers. It's not just about software companies. Whatever you do, there's probably a place for you in our ecosystem, so definitely reach out. At the end, I'll put my email up there and Vova's email out there. If you'd like to just have a conversation to see if there's something relevant we can be doing together, we're very interested in hearing from you. So with that in mind, you'll hear the term smarter get used a lot. And what we do is essentially take that first commercial was kind of showing you this concept of analytics. There's a lot of data out there. We need to apply computer technology to help us understand it all. And that's what Smarter Analytics is all about. It then underpins for us higher level analytics that we bring to things like initiatives like social business, smarter commerce, which I won't talk about, but that's where I spend a lot of my time building solutions out. Watson, if you're familiar with Jeopardy, we built a computer that can basically guess those, participate and win those kind of games, understanding the questions, and we're applying that to healthcare, to banking. But Smarter Cities is what we're here to talk about today, and that's really the application of analytics to helping cities bring solutions to their populations. So what we've done today, that's kind of my pitch, is brought together a panel to talk about smarter cities, and it's very appropriate. I understand we are in a smart city. Beverly Hills has gone so far as to brand itself that way, and I had a chance to speak briefly with David Shermer, who's with us, who's the CIO, and what we'll do is once we've given a chance to each of the companies to speak for a few minutes, And I was very impressed with how Oded drove his session yesterday. We were able to get quite a bit of content within a few minutes from each company. And then we'll follow up with questions so that, almost treat it like you're selling to Dave. I'll be curious, Dave, how you feel reacting to this. We also have Jay Ennisser with me from IBM, and he'll be making comments about things like how would you partner with IBM to scale up what we're going to hear about. So I'm going to let each partner introduce themselves. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our first speaker.
Thank you. My name is Raviv Yatom, and I'm from Airbase. We do air business, and I'm going to explain to you today about our product. Our product is called Canarit. Well, the canary was the first sensor out there for the miners. It gave alerts for the miners. So good news, no need to kill any birds anymore. So today, the common pain is the urbanization is growing. The cars on the road are growing. We can look at China. We see much more cars on the road. The rate of the growth of the pollution and the rate of the solutions is nothing to compare to. So we're going to a place that is not good in relation to air pollution. Please. When we look at control rooms today, at cities and municipalities, they all have the eyesight. They all have the cameras out there, but they don't have the nose. Okay, so this is a lack in the control rooms, and we come to complete this gap. Please. Okay, now this is an important slide. If I would have told you 20 years ago that you would have looked at all the ingredients of food and water, I'm not sure you would have believed. But now every one of us is looking at all the ingredients of food. Everyone knows what is the food made of, and everyone cares about it. Now you take those two, the food and the water, all together, it's around 10 liters maximum a day. Now when you think about air that you breathe, it's more than 1,000 liters every day that you consume into your system, and you have no clue about what you're breathing. So we built this device. It's a very simple device to operate. We put a lot of effort to make it very easy to plug and play. So it won't be a lot of maintenance to go around with. And it actually measures 7 parameters regarding air pollution, including NOxes, ozone, dust, VOC, which are fuels, and noise, which is also some kind of an air pollution. Now, looking at what the technology today out there, it's a very big caravans for air pollution. It's hard to find real estate for them. It's hard to maintain them. You have to go every once in a while to calibrate them. And the price is very high for the municipalities to buy and actually see the picture of what's going on in the city. So comparing it to our device, it's kind of a revolution. Please, can you? So comparing it, it's like 40 stations that you can deploy instead of one station. Now, it's not just about accuracy. It's also about space. Analyzing the space and understanding the trends in the air pollution. What are the sources? Where is it coming from? Where is it going to? When is it going up? When is it going down? So actually you deploy the sensors around. So instead of one accurate location, you get a whole picture of what's going on in the city, which is very important. So if anyone wants to understand more, I'm here. So we'll have, this is an example of what's going on in the city. So you deploy those 40 sensors. You deploy those 40 sensors in the urban environment. And let's say there is a truck with ammonia that is having an accident, and the ammonia is spreading around. You cannot see it, obviously, and it's a very deadly material. So you would see in the control room exactly where is the plume going to, and you can understand what areas to isolate, where to send the firemen. Another one is a factory leak, which happens all the time. So again, you can understand exactly the space, what is going on, who is affected, what are the sources. If we look at the municipality, so it has control over with the sensors, it has the emergency to deal with, and it has the efficiency. You want to plan the city, you want to take the schools away from the road, you want to plan green areas in the city. So this is a ground for a smarter urban planning. Now let's look at some kind of a model that can work. The factories will be obligated to deploy the sensors, and the government will issue a license whether they regulate good or not good. So thank you very much for the time.
Hi. So I was told not to stand, so I'm going to be good. My name is Andrea. I'm CMO at Parco. And I want to start my presentation with a quick survey. Please raise your hand if you hate looking for parking. Right, looking for parking sucks. Here are some numbers. In Tel Aviv, we spend 24 minutes every day looking for parking. But this is nothing comparing to cities like New York, Tokyo, Paris, where people spend 40 minutes of their life looking for parking. This is 200, sorry, this is, go back. This is 200 minutes a week, 800 minutes a month, almost 1 year of your life that you're circling the block looking for parking. So what is Parco? Parco is a crowdsourcing solution that connects between drivers that are looking for a parking spot and drivers that are about to leave a parking spot. And the beautiful thing about Parco is that we automatically identify parking spots that are about to become available. This means that the person that is about to leave a parking spot doesn't need to do anything. His smartphone becomes smart enough to know that he's on the way to leave a parking spot and notifies the people that are around him driving like crazy looking for parking. So how this passive mechanism works in the mobile phone? So in Tel Aviv, it's very common that if you're walking in the street with your keys, someone will stop and say, "Excuse me, are you looking for parking?" So we took exactly that example into the mobile. And we created different incentives like virtual coins in order to incentivize people to share their parking spots and earn coins. And the results were amazing. Only in central Tel Aviv, we have already more than 70,000 users. And we took it further. We decided to add private parking and parking lots so that even if you don't find parking in the street, we can direct you to the parking lot that has spots available and is closest to you and is better in terms of price. So, yeah, so go on. Yeah. So many people ask us, okay, so how do we going to make our money? So we have the elements of the coins as well as parking lots that we create deals with them and get revenue sources on commissions and local partners. And, yeah. So this is us. Tomer is the passion behind driving. Itai, the CTO. Moran with all the connections in Tel Aviv, and I'm in charge of the marketing and business development outside the country, so you can approach me later if you have further questions.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting it all in there. There we go. Sam, please.
Can I have this?
You have microphone.
No,
you can just signal to me on the wall.
All right. First of all, let's start with the good news. The good news is that I have only 3 slides, and one which is with some remarks, so this is not included. But anyhow, the acknowledgements go to the coordinator that really guided us that we should keep it simple, and we should keep it without many technicalities. And actually, thinking about the concept of preparing such a presentation, I recall about a little story about the PhD student that is in China, and he gets an email from his professor from Boston, which saying that I'm coming by plane, by plane 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's waiting for his professor, and they said, "Professor, I'm so excited that you come. I have so many gathering things to do." He said, "No, make a program for today because tomorrow I'm leaving." And then the professor, the student said, but this is China, this is so large, so big. How could it be? You are writing a book about it. And then the professor said, "Yes, but you know the title of my book? It's China yesterday, today, and tomorrow." So basically, that's the same thing here with my slides. I'll show you something about, and anyhow, in Israel, everything is split and divided into three. So something about now, something about past, and something about tomorrow or future. My name is Sam Büchler. I'm a manager business programs of MER Systems. MER System is part of MER Group. We are specialized in solutions and systems for safer cities. We are saying safer because, of course, everybody is doing a lot of effort in order to make his city safe, but safer is actually what we are trying to do. And we are carefully approaching these with steps, the smarter aspects of the city so that the city would be safer and smarter. So in this thing, we do have very sophisticated, intelligent surveillance and also situational awareness where analytics plays a very important role. And about the steps, you will see through the slides. And by the way, that's another good thing that I will be less than 5 minutes because I have a clock that I prepared it over here, so I see. Don't worry, I will not extend too much. So the first slide, if it's okay, is about, this is not the first, this is the second. Also, this is the past. But the first slide, due to compression and so on, is about the fact that, as I said before, everything in Israel splits into three. And even this thing of the systems can be split into three. You have sensors, a lot of sensors which are spread everywhere, and you have a communication network which is necessary for it, and you have an intelligent central control. And this is not only about all the displays and so on, but it's about the mind behind it, which in our case we are trying to develop, and we develop security information management, and also which gives a unified view of the city and of the situation, and situational awareness. As you see in the slide before, there is a table that there is a back thing. Okay, good. Okay, let's go forward. Jerusalem. This is an example of a system that we implemented. And by the way, here in about 1 square kilometer, you have all the troubles of the world. You have three, the Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews. And the system that is here developed has and deployed has shown its effectiveness by a reduction, considerable reduction of the crime in the city, and a very interesting aspect that I will discuss about it in remarks. The way to approach the smarter functionalities and so on, what you see here is after we've done a lot of research, we arrived to IBM as a solution for analytics. And here actually the initial operation capabilities that we are going to deploy in Rishon LeZion, which is the fourth largest city in Israel, will include vandalism, parking violations, including the car going wrong way, which is more related to traffic, which is, by the way, a very important component in the link between safer and smarter cities. So before you park, you need first of all to arrive to a parking, and this is related about the traffic and traffic management and intelligent traffic management. And crowding, like people gathering, and here we are not discussing about just people for having a manifestation or something, but you have parks and you have people, and they start with crowding, especially if they are youngsters, and with drinks and so on, and then can go to violence. So if you have patterns like this that you are checking, then you can really approach this. This is the last one, by the way. Actually, what we've seen is a reduction of crime and thefts in the areas that were protected by such system, or I would say so, contaminated with a problem of criminality. Actually, what we've seen also is that, not what you've seen, I'm speaking about the conclusion of our users and customers, is that the violence migrates from the areas that were protected with system deployed in areas that were unprotected. And then comes the requirement to be done. Next step, the way how our conclusions show is to gather more intelligence, analytics both in vision and information analytics, actually to intelligence that will enable to go from the, what would say, to respond only in a way to be proactive, so to have prevention of this. And of course, the expansion with a smart city, once you feel safe and if you have all this functionality in place, then you start looking to the additional aspects, and in this respect, we rely heavily on IBM possibilities and capabilities in order to complement such systems. Thank you. I'm here. We are at the pavilion at IBM, and you are invited for additional talks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we would love to give everyone more time, but they will be here afterwards, each one of us, to answer questions that you have. So at this time, what I'd like to do is ask David a couple of questions. First, if you could share with us, it was exciting for me to find out that your tagline is a smarter city, the smarter city. And so if you could share a little bit about your perspective on how Beverly Hills is making itself a smarter city, and then maybe you could let us know what you thought about the different presentations and kind of what would it take for one of these companies to kind of find their way into your smarter city.
Sure. Well, thank you. David Shermer, I'm the CIO for the City of Beverly Hills. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. So for the City of Beverly Hills, the smart city concept has been around probably for eight years or so, and it was really a way for us to focus a lot of the technologies that we had into a single area. And that the credit to that mostly goes to our mayor, Jimmy Delshad, at the time, who was a big champion of technology and really raising raising the visibility to the technology in municipalities and really pushing that to the fore. So we're very thankful to him to enable that. So for us, the smart city's taken two main focus areas. One is on public safety, which is police, fire, as well as emergency management. And the big component of that is our CCTV program. So we have some 200 cameras deployed currently. There's dozens more in the pipeline. They're focusing on critical infrastructure as well as intersections. And we're working very closely with our police department to define where are the best places to put these cameras. They're all high-resolution images that are brought back centrally on the network and maintained for 13 months, which is quite a long time to retain such a large amount of video. So we're thankful to IBM. We rely on them heavily for our storage needs. ALPR, which is the automated license plate recognition, most of our police cars have that installed. We also have fixed post. The success stories there, the obvious one is stolen vehicle recovery. I believe that number is up 400% from where it was before. Our officers love it because it does the job for them as they drive around. They're finding all these bad guys just automatically. So that's been a huge benefit to us. Another component on the emergency management scene is we've developed something called Virtual Beverly Hills. It's a decision support system that allows for better situational awareness when there is an event. So it pulls lots of disparate data together, like air quality and like the CCTV and video feeds and lots of other data sources into a single environment to help these first responders make better decisions and to see what's going on the ground. For our fire department, we've created a regional teleconferencing system, which is primarily used on a day-to-day basis for training firefighters, but in the event of an emergency, this is a separate communications channel that will allow elected officials as well as decision makers to interact should the normal channels go down. Social media, we've had a lot of success with that on the law enforcement side. Nixle and other programs, we've had some good success stories there in finding bad guys by using it. We're also relying heavily on crowdsourcing for information. So when there's protests and whatnot, when these Twitter announcements go out on where protests are going to be or when there's some sort of activity, we can monitor, map that, and see if this needs further attention. So leveraging the crowd for additional information. The LA Marathon runs through our city, so we are getting information about incidents that happen there via crowdsourcing. The public is providing us video imagery as well as still pictures of events that might happen. So I think that's a huge growth area, is the crowdsourcing. The other area that we're focusing on is just e-government, and it's my personal goal to eliminate the public's need to ever have to go to City Hall for a transaction. So we've moved all of those counter transactions onto the internet and as well as mobile platforms. So we were one of the first cities to enable building permits to be pulled, not just applied for, but pulled via the internet. And also building inspections. Once you have some work done, you got to have an inspector come out and see if it's okay. All of that is done online, and you can better schedule that to meet your needs, which is, as I believe we're one of the few cities who are offering that service as well. We have, in Beverly Hills, parking is a huge issue. We have a on-street, off-street, as well as a parking permit system for our residents. The ability to get these permits, the exemptions, and all of the things you need to do, that's all available on the mobile platform as well as online. We have parking capacities of the city-owned lots are available via an app or online as well. And of course, all of our parks and recreation activities, the classes and those sorts of things, you can get those. And one area that we're focusing on now is e-transparency and e-democracy. So we have a significant e-noticing program where you can, the public has the ability to say, I'm interested in any development activity or any activity that's within 1,000 feet of my house. And whenever those events happen through our commission process, our planning commission and architecture commission, you can get notified of these things so you can participate early on in the process. And then, of course, the big revolution is the mobile app. So we've developed our own mobile Beverly Hills, which really pulls together all of the city services on a mobile platform that hopefully enables the public to interact with the city in another way. So from a high level, that's what we have going on.
Great. Let me ask you a specific question. I think our visitors on the stage as well as companies in the audience would want to know. So what would you say you look for, or how would a company sell effectively to you in order to deploy something? What do you look for? What are your hot button issues going forward, and how would they sell to you?
I think one of the keys is increasingly you have to show value to the public. It's not enough to just make my job easier. It has to be of benefit to the end user, which is our residents and our public. And so that's a key. Another key is we have significant investments in systems already. So vendors need to integrate with those systems readily, and that can be a challenge if it's proprietary or just some sort of legacy hurdle that you need to overcome. We'd look for that, the ability to interface with those systems readily, so open standards is key. Those are the types of things we're looking for, but bottom line, it's value.
You have to mention earlier that you work and you buy from us through one of our major resellers called Mainline. So would it be important that some of these companies potentially have relationships with your main suppliers who do some of the integration work?
Well, maybe it's just my perspective, but how we interface with IBM primarily is through your channel partners. And so yes, absolutely, we rely on them heavily for the latest technology and things that will be a benefit to our enterprise.
Thanks, Dave. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jay Ennisser to maybe make some comments. You're our VP of, I know your media past job was VP of Alliances with some of our biggest partners, and now you're in the thick of smarter cities looking for all kinds of partners to do all kinds of things. So could you give your perspective on smarter cities and then what it takes to partner with IBM?
I want to work for Beverly Hills. I'm so impressed. I'm absolutely so impressed because of all the places I go in the world and what I see. My compliment to you, my compliment to you. And I sincerely mean that because what I most see, and I'll get to the partnership point, is the willingness to take that next step and that risk. This is not a technology challenge in the cities. Let me be very clear. It's about how a city wants to collaborate within the city, but also with their sister cities around them to make a difference, to your point, to the constituents, the voters, what have you. And whenever I'm in a planning session with IBMers in a room, my first thing is, okay, is this going to help get votes and increase the customer satisfaction here? And if not, we're not doing it. And they all think I'm crazy. The other thing I realized too as I travel the world, so this is not about money. It's again about the creativity and the collaboration that can go on. There's plenty of money out there today, despite what you'll say about our federal government here in the U.S. But when I find that collaboration and I find creative mayors who are willing to go out and move some things around and CIOs are willing to take a little bit of a risk, things are happening. And it's amazing what can happen. And your results here speak for it itself. And what I'm going down the path is, what I'm looking for in partners in the future is the creativity in the business models. okay? And how we can go to market in a new, different way, whether it's cloud, whether it's with a bank, that we can help a city with their bonds or something else, and create new ways of engaging with the cities, with the states, with the counties, with the country, and becoming very creative as part of both a financial point of view, as well as a technology point of view, as well as a solution point of view. Because we have to look at all those aspects when we look at partnering with companies around the world. And let me also say is, we're always looking for partners in all parts of the world, because we are not everywhere. And partners in this room can't be everywhere, right? So how do we best support each other and create that plug-and-play environment where we can move forward? And these partners here have demonstrated that, and as David has said, we need to be able to plug and play very quickly without re-engineering things. So it's important to understand the customer base and what they're doing and how we move forward, so we can make that integration happen very quickly. The information's out there. It's not a question of if it's there. It's there. It's a question of compiling it and bringing it together, much like you've done, much like what you have and what you've done here as well. So from a partnership point of view, we're always looking for the best and brightest, the next opportunity, people that really have deals and challenges. And in particular for IBM, we're looking for those partners that are stretching that envelope. Where is that next big opportunity coming from, and seeing how we can play a part in making that happen and helping to create that market together too. So those are some of the things that I look for as I travel the world and I talk with customers and partners around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're getting close to time, and I guess I could ask a few more questions, but I don't know if anyone has a burning question in the audience. I think we have time for maybe one or two, and I don't know if Sharona is here. She was going to help with that. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question?
Please.
Yeah.
I heard someone say yesterday, they were talking about that 50 years ago we were worried about our privacy and the government being transparent, and now we're seeing that our lives are transparent and we're worried about the opaqueness of government, the government's covering up. And so I've been involved with security things on the entertainment side and protecting certain assets. And I'm fascinated by the intrusion into everybody's lives, and how you figure out how you, being either representatives of cities or representatives of corporate assets, how you protect or how you balance protecting a sense of moral obligation to humanity with how you do run your business. And it's an interesting question, because it doesn't come up. Thank you. It doesn't come up that often in conversation, because you're busy taking care of business. I do it too. But the question keeps coming up for me when the people say, well, now we know everything about ourselves, but nothing about the people who we elect.
So thank you for that. And I want to make a personal comment, and then I'm going to let Jay and perhaps David comment on it as well, and anyone else who wants to chime in. But at a personal level, I live in New York City, and I remember one time walking into the subway during a higher alert time, and being checked, somebody wanting to check me, and an ACLU person being there saying, you don't have to do this. And I'm thinking, I am happy, to have that kind of check. And with everything that just happened recently, if you think Boston as the example, the fact that there's video surveillance and the kinds of technologies you're using here to protect us. But it does beg the question, right? What about the other? I know that in terms of how we work with our clients, and we let our clients really drive. So in certain countries in Europe, the privacy is almost to the extreme, where you can actually not bring certain points of value to someone because of it. But then there are other environments that are a little bit more open. So Jay, did you want to chime in on that?
I was going to just say is, we did the Watson thing, right? And now we're applying it to healthcare, research, cancer, and delivery to doctors, right? We could have done that 2 years ago. We spent a year and a half figuring out just that problem as to where do we align ourselves from the point of view of where does the liabilities start and stop from an IT kind of a company. Because we tap into all the information, we produce results somebody else has to go do. And you would argue that we're tapping into lots of different sources of quote-unquote HIPAA, privacy, and what have you. And we've had to really work through that. So it is a huge challenge behind the scenes, and it's taken us a long time to get to the models now that we feel comfortable that those things that you described are protected in some ways. But you live it every day in another way, and you deliver that too. So.
Exactly. That's a great question. So we have been focusing on the transparency and e-democracy types of functionality, but most of what a municipality does is a public record anyway. So we have that benefit. So really our strategy has been push all of those public records out onto the web, make them available to the public, but at the same time we have an incredibly robust security system to prevent intrusion. But identity management has been a focus of ours for a long time. How do you give the corporate access to the mobile field crews, people who need to do their work, but at the same time protect the network? So it's a big challenge of IT, and that's really where we've been focusing. But in terms of the getting the information out there, we've really made a big push to do that. All of our commission meetings are on television, all the agendas are available, that sort of thing, so that we can have that transparency.
So I want to thank you for the question, and I want to thank everyone for your attention. I want to thank the panelists, some of whom flew from very far away to be here. So I'd encourage you to find both of these companies, and our colleague Sam from MER Systems are available outside to chat with you if you have any more questions. And so we thank you for your attention. I'm Alan, ALLAN, at us.ibm.com. If you have any other questions or you want to explore how you could team with IBM, I'm happy to hook you up with our team in Israel. Okay? Thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome.